Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm gonna give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Oh, what are you doing? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Either you are, or I'll be skipping rope with your entrails. Ta-ta.
This is the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, your source for lore and so much more. Adventurers, welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. You've got me, Tom, and Lotus. Like usual, for us, it's been a few weeks as we had to pre-set up episodes because of the winter holiday and all of that. But we are continuing with a look at Skyrim stuff. We talked about all the spells recently. We got through all the different types of spells in 2 episodes. And this week, we are digging into all of the shouts. And we're going to do something very similar. Lotus and I are going to discuss each shout alphabetically. We're going to discuss, is this useful? Do we ever use it in our playthroughs? And we're going to try to rate these. Is this a 10? Absolutely, you should use it all the time. And I love it. It's the best one. Or is it a 1? And we're like, there's almost no use for this.
Or I literally never use this and barely know it exists.
Right. So we're excited to be back doing our thing. And chat, thank you for joining us for the live show. And this isn't going to be
who suggested this too.
I got to call. Yes. Okay. So this topic actually, because we were discussing some of the things that we want to do after the spells, but then in our Discord chat, I wish I could find it in here.
It's quite a ways up.
Somebody, I want to call that. You know who you are. You commented on, here it is. Boko Hunter said, are you guys going to dive into the shout section of Skyrim, or is it spell exclusive? And also racial powers would be cool. So yeah, I saw that recently and I was like, actually, Lotus, this is probably a good idea. We should,
I love
go ahead and do this. So we're going to talk about the shouts this episode, and then on the next episode, or maybe next 2, it turns out that there's a bunch of greater and lesser powers, and there's a surprising amount of other ability type things you can get from interacting with things in the world that most of us don't think about and categorize in the same way we do spells or shouts. But we're going to go over all of that stuff in order to cover every cool little bit of Skyrim magic and abilities and all of that stuff. So there you go. That's the plan. And this week we are talking about shouts. So Lotus, are you ready? Are you ready to shout? Are you ready to?
I'm ready to shout. Yes.
Shout it all all out, man.
But I was going to say, are we gonna
sing songs
into a song?
Yep, from the 80s. All right, so here let's get started with our first one. Very first shout: Animal Allegiance, a shout for help from the beasts of the wild who come to fight in your defense. So first question, do you ever use this one? And if you do, what do you think about it?
I don't. I have tried it before. No, it is not something I use. I find that in Skyrim, and honestly, any of the just in general, any of the single player Elder Scrolls games, I tend to not really like cluttery companions around me, whether they are permanent or temporary.
Oh, see, sometimes I like to do playthroughs where, and we've talked about this a little bit on the previous episodes, where I like to have minions around me.
I'm not a big minion person in the single player games.
Mm-hmm. I'm typically not, but sometimes I will do that on purpose. And this feels like the kind of spell that if you want to go, there's the Bosmer racial ability that allows you to manipulate animals and things as well. Yeah. So this feels like a shout you would go with if you were doing a Bosmer role play kind of character.
Sure. Or some type of druid. You could be what do you call it? You could also be Bretonish, and go with a druidic type of deal that
right,
I can see
the weird stuff that they talk about in ESO. Yeah, so if you wanted to go with something like this would be very helpful. And there are a number of places where you come across beasts in the wild that would be really cool to manipulate, the mammoths fighting a bunch of giants, or the Chaurus. Pronouncing words. The Chaurus is when your Chaurus is. Words are hard. Chorai. The Chorai, when you are fighting the Fall Mare, I'm just going to mispronounce everything on
Yeah,
purpose
that's
now.
fine. I was going to say the churros are fighting the Falmer.
Yeah, the Falmer is actually a French word. It's pronounced Folme.
I hate all of this.
But it seems useful for that kind of stuff, but it seems also very conditional. Like the kind of thing that, like, if you don't remember you have it, you're probably not going to use it.
Definitely a thing that I feel like even when I would want to use it, I'm way too murder focused in these games, I think, to think, well, I could control this thing, as I realize that after I've already slain it or something like that.
Yeah. I kind of go with a minimalist. These are the things I've already set up on my hotbar kind of build, and then usually forget, like, oh, I've got another thing I could use. Or like the potions I'm carrying with me, or the scrolls. Half the time I get done with a big fight and I'm like, oh, I could have just blasted them with a fireball because I've got a fireball scroll.
Right. And it's like, oh, but I've been, shield bashing him and jamming an axe in him for the last 25 seconds.
Right. So I would give this one a 5 because it seems very useful in the right situations if you make a point to use it.
If this is your play style, I could see this being like awesome.
Yes.
It just happens to not be my play style, so that's why I don't use it. Not so much that it's not a potentially useful skill.
Right. So 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
I'd say 5-ish.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with you on 5 because you need a build for it, I would think, rather than just anybody's going to grab it. I mean, anybody could use it, but unless you're kind of building into this, I wouldn't see a lot of people grabbing this.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right, next one. Aura Whisper. Your voice is not a shout, but a whisper revealing the life forces of any and all. This is very similar to the spell that allows you to kind of see where things are before you get to them.
I always use the spell, so I literally never use this.
Yeah, but
that's
the
sort
fact
of
that
my thing is like I'm used to using detect life from other games, so I just look for that in this game. Like I actually didn't even know this was a shout. Like I whenever I got this, I clearly just ignored it.
So I do this thing where, well, first of all, the fact that it's a shout is nice because it just has you have to wait for
just
time.
got a free cooldown.
You get a cooldown. You don't have to worry about your mana. And if you're doing a very mana heavy build, then that helps you be able to cast other things when you could be casting
The only
this.
thing is, which I guess if you're in, this isn't a thing
Magicka. Why did I say mana? I'm using, it's been too long, guys.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, Magicka.
But like the big thing with something like that is your Magicka regenerates 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
That's true.
I'm not, and this isn't like a thing that you're going to be combat heavy. You're using this to track things essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really going to be in combat anyways. So
Or to know where they are before you try to sneak past them.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sort of just seems like, why would I ever choose this over the spell unless I don't have the spell?
Yeah. My default is to not use spells like this and instead to creep around and just listen, because almost everything has kind of a telltale sound. And the sound design in the game, even though, I mean, we're talking this is an old game at this point, but the sound design in the game is still great. And I feel like I'm pretty good at identifying, like, oh, that thing's up and around the corner. I know where it is, and I can tell it's a bandit because that's what's in this dungeon. Like
right.
I'm not
exactly. I'm hearing their armor clanking around.
Right. So typically don't find this particularly useful. I'm not sure. It's the kind of one that, like, even when I have it, I don't use it. So I would give it like a 2. Like I suppose in some very specific situations, it becomes useful, but it's one I will usually forget even exists.
I would give this a 1. I literally don't know why you would ever choose this over the spell unless you were doing like a role play thing where it's like, oh, I don't use magic or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Or you're very non-magic build.
Or you essentially have like, I think the base is like, even still, I was going to say, I think you get 100 magicka by base. So it's just
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
So I literally can't. Maybe somebody has a suggestion. It was like, I use this other than roleplay because that's just it. It's like, oh, I don't use magic. Okay, sure. Then for your character, that makes sense. But like otherwise, I can't think of a single reason to choose this over the spell version, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, next one on the list. Battle Fury. Your Thu'um enchants your nearby allies' weapons, allowing them to attack faster. Now, you aren't a, like, mob rolling around with, like, a whole posse of, like,
and this was
dudes.
Similar to kind of, like, some of these, as you probably are already noticing, are almost like non-spell versions of these.
Yes.
This would be another one. I don't really use the spell equivalent, maybe because I don't really care about buffing my allies. But if I was, sure, this seems fine. And I could also see this being somewhat beneficial, unlike the spell thing. I could see you getting the buff out of this in combat. Like if it wore off and you're already in combat, you're like, whoop, gotta boost my team back up type of thing. So I could see a practical use for this, but again, not a use that I partake in.
Yeah, I didn't remember that this existed when I did my Necromancer build a few months back. And this feels like the kind of thing you absolutely would want with a bunch of, skeletons or whatever rolling around, and just buff them up and make them attack more. And then, because oftentimes when you have a group of summoned creatures, they kind of only last so long until they get beat up and disappear. Yes. So if you can maximize their damage before they wear out, that seems like a very positive thing to use, but it is very conditional. So I would give it something like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. I would even go quite that high. I'd probably say like a 3.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
That makes sense for the way you play the game.
Yeah.
All right. Become ethereal. The Thu'um reaches out to the void. This is interesting from a lore standpoint too. The fact that the Thu'um is interacting with the void, which you and I have talked about before as being like super weird and creepy.
Yes.
Changing your form to one that cannot harm or be harmed. This is we'll use the polite abbreviated version. This is the OS button. This is the oh no, I'm in over my head. There's too many things. Everything's exploding. I'm attacking something I didn't expect to be fighting right now. I need to get out of this situation. Click, run away.
So what I think I would see this being useful for would be like a legendary playthrough with some type of restriction type of thing. Yes. You're going to get yourself into bad scenarios.
Yeah.
But I definitely play that I'm going down with the ship, and I would never remember this in time because I'm like,
right.
I'm fighting to the death, and it's like, oh man, like when it's super down to the wire on my health, I can't imagine that I would remember this in time, but this I could at least see have a practical purpose, especially if you're trying to do something challenge-wise, playthrough playthrough type of thing.
Yeah,
I could totally see this,
like an Iron Man run where you don't if you die, you delete your save.
Yes, exactly. If you're doing an Iron Man run, 100% I would want this because I was like, okay, I need a oh god, everything's ruined type of thing.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, yeah, absolutely, like a must-have. But again, it's like situational to the type of gameplay you're doing. Like if you're doing a challenge run, crucial. Anything shy of a challenge run, never.
Alcatraz Prisoner in chat says, and this is very true, you always remember to use the shouts after the fight. Yes,
bingo.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's me with a lot of my spells too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could have totally gotten out of that if I was still alive.
Yeah, or me and my scrolls and my potions. But here, this one I can absolutely attest to that. This is one that I have used. This is one that has come in handy for me, especially early. And now I have to think back a long time, but like early on when I got the game and started exploring, oh, these are the things you can do. And I'm unlocking shouts and I'm like, oh, this one, it seems useful. There were definitely times during my first playthrough where I did not know what I was going up against and needed to get out of the situation. And this worked out. And I probably in like a dragon fight or maybe towards the end where like I hadn't leveled efficiently. So I wasn't doing as much damage as I needed to do against some of the bigger end battles.
But in a weird way.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, I've got memories of like dealing with dragons in the end game and being like, oh no, what am I doing?
Yeah, especially if you're not prepped and you get like a legendary or something like that. That could be problematic.
Right. So I think it's very useful as long as you remember to use it and you're playing in either a scenario where you're not super familiar with the game yet or at higher difficulty or an Iron Man run. So I would say that this is like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say depending upon what you're doing, if you're in a challenge mode, I would say this is literally essential and give it a 10. Anything shy of a challenge mode, I would probably give it like, okay, this would never come across my plate. So it would go down to like a 1 or a 2 type of thing because it's like, okay, well, whatever.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
All right, next on our list is Bend Will. This is a Dragonborn DLC one. The other one was Battle Fury. That was also Dragonborn DLC. But Bend Will, your voice bends the very stones to your will. As it gains power, animals, people, and even dragons must do your bidding. This is like the Animal Allegiance one on crack.
It is. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the one you use for the storyline thing, correct?
Yeah, you learn it from like Hermaeus Mora.
Yeah.
And it's part of the and we're looking at the UASP as we normally do for a lot of our references. But this one is labeled as during the Gardener of Men quest line.
Yes. Okay. That's
Yes.
what I was. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. Again, not something I necessarily use type of deal. Honestly, I almost wonder, like, on the previous note of like the like an Iron Man playthrough, I almost wonder if this would get you out of some jams too. It's like, hey, all right,
yeah.
you know, especially I guess this would probably allow you, unless I'm mistaken, I think you do this to then ride the dragons as well.
I believe so. And I haven't used this in a long time,
while,
but I believe so. Yes.
But which I guess in that case, I did use it several times because there's an achievement for riding 5 dragons.
Yeah. I remember using this early on and then seeing how janky it was and then being like,
Oh yeah.
so that's cool.
Yes.
I guess. And then just not
Riding
using it anymore.
dragons is definitely more cool in concept than in practice.
Right. So yeah, this seems like some of these things, especially the things that are added in DLC, feel like, hey, you've been playing this game a long time. Here's just some goofy stuff.
Weird.
Yeah, here's some goofy stuff to just really just break things and just mess around.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great, by the way. I think that's
I
wonderful.
appreciated them making it so you could ride dragons. It's just like you said, that was kind of jank.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's fine. I think it's got like a 4. I mean, it can be very useful, but it also is a little bit silly.
Yeah, it's like I said, I remember, I'm almost positive this is what I used so that I could ride 5 dragons for my trophy.
Right. So you can also call dragon. So that's the next one. Call dragon, Odahving, hear my voice and come forth. I summon you in my time of need. Similar kind of thing, right? Calling the dragon in to fight for you. That seems more useful than Ben will in some ways.
I actually remember using this one a few times because if I remember correctly, Odahving wrecked house.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. Well, I guess the previous one you can use to like get out of situation. Like I'm fighting a dragon, but now I need to chill it out or maybe control it because something else rolled up and I want it to fight the other thing that rolled up and now we got to fight something else.
So I guess this was to the point because if I'm remembering correctly, this was like I got a lot of use out of this at the end of my Xbox 360 run because at that point I would piss off all the villagers in like a place. So they were technically enemies and you call in Odahving and then you just watch the battle ensue.
Yep.
I remember being entertained by that for quite a bit of time. So I actually did use this one a bit more than the others, not for any good purposes, but just kind of like it was, hey, what else can I do with this at the time? And that was one of the things I remember doing a decent amount.
Right. And it's also limited because it's like an outdoor thing. Like you're not going to summon a dragon in the middle of a cave.
Correct. You cannot be down in like Chorus tunnels and be like, Odahving, and he just like smushes his face through and starts stomping things.
He just blows fire into the cave from the opening of the front.
Everybody, you included.
Right. Yeah. So it is kind of limited in that sense, but it is fun.
Yeah, no, they do need to be outdoor fights.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very useful if you are outdoors and you want to destroy some stuff. So I think it's like a 6, 7.
Yeah,
situational, but useful.
It's situational, but I remember it being kind of fun, like just watching the chaos ensue because I remember it being very powerful.
Mm-hmm. So what number would you give it?
I mean, I guess at this point you've kind of like doomed the thing. So I would say it's like a 5 because like you really know what you're getting into at that point. It's like, I've done everything there is. What chaos can I ensue? Or you have the summoner style thing and you could use that.
Yeah. All right. So another one, Call of Valor. Do you remember this one? The Valiant of Sovngarde, hear your voice and journey beyond space and time to lend aid.
Oh, so it's just a different summon?
It's a summon. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever used this.
Right. Oh, it summons, Soon teaches it to you. And it summons
I actually remember the situation where he teaches you something, and I remember never even looking into it.
Yeah, it summons a hero to fight for you, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, you get a Sovngarde hero. No, something I've never used.
Yeah.
Like literally never used.
I used this one a little bit toward the end of probably my first playthrough when I was just trying out all the different the different shouts and things like that. But like you and some of the people in our chat, like shouts are often one of those things I don't remember I have even to use until it's too late.
It was a cool feature that just it's tricky. It's the same problem I have a lot of times with my racial like skill. I really just kind of forget it's there a lot. And I'm like, ah, damn it. Because some of them are actually pretty good. And I'm like, crap, I never remember that's there.
Right. Yeah, I do the same thing. But, I think I mean, at least you can summon a hero into a cave. It's not situational outside.
He will fit. He will fit in Breeze Home, unlike Odoving.
I feel like this is one of those I'd have to go back and try again, but I feel like I was a little bit underwhelmed. Is that a word? Underwhelmed.
You weren't properly whelmed.
I was not overwhelmed. I was not regularly whelmed. I was a little underwhelmed at the abilities of this hero. But there are 3 different levels of it as you get all 3 words in the shout. So maybe it starts off a little bit more meek and meager than he gets eventually. But I think it's like a 5 or 6 for me.
Yeah, this just seems like there's better summons to be had. So I'd say like a 3 or a 4. I just feel like it's just like you're almost using it just for the sake of using it.
Yeah. At some point, especially in the late game, if you're just summoning things to fight for you and you're no longer fighting, there's a certain level of like, well, am I even playing the game?
Well, the other thing too is then you're not going to use anything but the best one at your disposal.
That's true.
Either.
Yeah. Or 2, you'll have a shout and then maybe a spell and then maybe a companion. So you have like 3 things, but you're still going to use the best of each of those things.
Right. But like, yeah, when would you choose? Like, I'll just use this discount minion. Like, because at that point, you're probably, if that's your play style, you built into it enough that you can afford it.
Right. So speaking of a better shout, what do you think about clear skies? Skyrim itself yields before the Thu'um as you clear away fog in inclement weather. This is definitely one of the better spell things.
I see.
Shouts?
There is a quest that requires this briefly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're in High Hrothgar, and I believe you have to clear something when you
gotta
get it.
clear it. So other than that, I guess it's really good if you need just the right skybox for your pictures.
Right. Now, the one other side benefit of this is you can actually clear, like if you're fighting, what's the big dragon? What's his name? Words fall out of my head.
Like you're actually
Alduin.
fighting Alduin.
If you're fighting Alduin and he does the whole thing where he starts dropping like meteors on you, it'll clear that
you can
up.
clear the fog there too.
Right.
That's true.
Right. So that is useful for that, but it's not particularly useful. So I would give it like a 2, a 1, maybe even.
It's sort of a skill that exists for the quest stuff, and then you can also play around with it if you'd like. And like I said, honestly, it's just, I do think I've used it once or twice when I was trying to get a screenshot of something. I'm like, no clouds, need God rays.
Right. Yeah, it's useful in those situations. So very minimally useful. And we're only in the seas, so we better pick up our pace a little bit. All right, let's talk about Cyclone. You ever use Cyclone? Creates a whirling cyclone that sows chaos among your enemies.
I sure haven't.
You haven't used this one? This one's fun.
Nope.
This one's fun. It's a little chaotic, but it's cool.
As cyclones tend to be.
So, yeah, but I think this one's fun. I like things that really, I don't know, it's more than just like pushing a thing or
kind of like
summoning
a fun
a
Havoc
thing.
Engine disaster, honestly.
Yeah, and physics. I love when physics kick in and weird stuff happens, especially if you're up like a mountainside and you want to just blow things off the side of the mountain.
Yep.
Things like that. That works well for that. So I would give it's not something you use all the time, but if you need to create a lot of chaos amidst a group of enemies you're dealing with, then could be useful. So
yeah, I literally don't think I've ever used this, or if I did, I just don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I'd give it like
not
a
something
5.
in any type of rotation.
Right. What do you think about Disarm? Shout defies steel, and you rip the weapon from an opponent's grasp. I remember playing with this a little bit.
I actually kind of like this one, and I do use this one sometimes because it doesn't inhibit my murder, but it makes it so I'm less prone to be murdered.
That feels like a new sentence. It doesn't inhibit my murder.
So the reason I use this is because to me, I mean, you can sort of do it with, I guess, like the just generic, like blasting people with your Fusro Da type of thing. Mm-hmm. But that annoying thing when you're fighting like the ultimate Draugrs that have like the whole suite of shouts. Mm-hmm. when I'm fighting something useful, I do use this one sometimes just to like shout the weapon out of their hand so that they stop even doing anything, and they'll try to go retrieve it a lot of times.
Right.
And in the meantime, I can just bash them in the back of the head.
Right. Go fetch, and then you let your stamina come back or whatever.
There's not many things I hate more than when I'm shouted with a Fusro Das, slam against a wall, and my like item flies out of my hand or something like that. It's so frustrating, especially if it's like long weeds, and I'm like, I am never gonna find this sword. Like,
yeah.
I lost a Dawnbringer in that once, and it drove me insane.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, or things go flying off a mountain, and you're like, I'm never gonna find that. Where did that go? Yeah, Wasteland Oni says, I hate when enemies use it on me.
Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah. So I think that one is useful. I would give it like a solid 7.
That's like a 6 or 7. I actually do have that as one of the shouts I use in my rotation.
And it's not just a replacement for a spell either, which makes it even more useful.
It's useful, and it's something that if I remember, it doesn't have that long of a cooldown.
It's like 30 to 40 seconds depending on the level.
I was going to say, it's enough that sometimes the fight, I will use it more than once in a fight type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that actually, I'd say 6 or 7. That is one that I actually do have in my rotation of shouts that I use.
Cool. We're pretty close in our rankings of all these.
So far, so much.
Yeah. All right. Let's see about Dismay. And the weak shall fear the Thu'um and flee in terror. This is another stand-in for a spell to make everything scared.
It's a stand-in for a spell, and I don't like my enemies running from me.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I need them to run into my sword.
Yep. So yeah, that's low on the list for me. It's like a 2. It's one of those situational things where it might get you out of a bad situation, but most of the time,
yeah, I mean, it does what it's supposed to. I just don't want it to do that.
Right. Yeah, run into my sword, not away from my sword.
Correct.
Yeah. What about Dragon Aspect? This is another Dragonborn DLC. Once a day, take on the mighty aspect of a dragon, delivering colossal blows with an armored hide and more powerful shouts. This is like a big buff spell.
Yeah, it's a big buff spell. I remember trying this, but it's one of those scenarios where the cooldown is super long and I forget it exists.
Actually, according to the UESP, the cooldown is only 5 seconds.
Wait, what?
I don't know if this is, sometimes the information could be wrong.
Reread the skill again real quick.
Yeah, Dragon Aspect. Once a day, take on a mighty aspect of a dragon.
That's the thing. You can only use it
daily.
Once a day.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So even though your Thu'um, your shout ability refreshes in 5 seconds and you can cast a different shout, it still takes a whole day to use this. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, wait a minute. I thought you could only use it once. Okay, that's exactly my point.
That makes sense.
I'm not going to use something with such a catastrophic cooldown.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the kind of thing you save for a big boss fight, and then you use it as like a buff, and then you go into battle,
Which again, if I remember it is there before said ginormous boss fight, boom, I'm all on board. But I remember seeing this before and just being like, I never remember this is there in time.
I wonder if you could do a Thu'um playthrough build, like just like for the except for maybe fists until you get the ability to start shouting and doing damage and using shouts. Like, could you build a character around almost exclusively using shouts to fight your enemies? You'd have so many cooldowns, but I've never seen anyone try it. I wonder if it's possible.
That sounds like a mess.
Yeah, it sounds really hard, but it seems like the kind of video that people would watch because they'd be like, I want to see this.
Fumble your way through it.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Yeah, so that's Dragon Aspect. It seems useful in situations. I'll give it like a 3.
The cooldown is the total killer for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. So next one, Dragon Rend. Your voice lashes out at a dragon's very soul, forcing the beast to land. That's very useful when fighting against dragons flying around and not being able to land any blows on them. And even when you try to shoot them with an arrow or throw a fireball or whatever, sometimes it's hard to hit them flying around in the air.
Obviously, there is the quest that relates to this as well. A lot of these are quest related briefly.
Right.
This is another one I always have on my. This is actually probably one of the most used ones that I have.
Yeah. Tough Alan in chat says most useful shout in the game.
Yeah, I was about to say, I actually love this shout because I don't like when they fly around and don't let me fight them. Mm-hmm. So I always keep this nearby because I don't have time to be watching you fly around while I try to plink you with arrows from range.
Right. Right. And then you cook me with your breath and all of that.
Yes. Yeah. I use this constantly, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, this is one of the most used shouts I have.
Yeah, it's up there for me too. I'll give it like a solid 9. The only problem is if I remember I even have it.
And this is one of the ones that I always remember because I instantly get frustrated when they fly away. And in between my incoherent ranting at them flying away, I'm like, oh wait, I can just fix this.
Right. Yeah, just here, land on my sword. Thank you.
Yeah, just land real quick, just real fast.
All right, we've got another DLC one. This one is from the Dawnguard DLC. It's called Drain Vitality. Coax both magical and mortal enemies with your hapless opponent. So the fuller description of that is let me skip to it. Each have their own version of the shout. Revered Dragon or Dawnguard, Revered, and Legendary. Their versions of this shout drain 5 and 7 stamina, magicka, and health per second, respectively, for a duration of 20 seconds. So it's like this. It's kind of like those spells where you suck things out of your enemies, kind of vampiric wise, but it does all of those things.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is one that I don't think I've ever used it.
This existed, but that actually sounds like one that I would use.
Yeah,
I just haven't.
Yeah,
Which is a weird scenario. This one sounds fine. I'm just wondering if it's because at that point in the DLC, I was like overpowered enough that I just wasn't even really paying attention to what the new stuff they might be giving me. But no, I've never used it, but it sounds like one I would use.
The second 2 runes, is that the best way to say them? The dragon marks, the pieces of it, are quest locked. One is in Dim Hollow Crypt and the other is in Forgotten Vale. So unless you are doing that quest, chances are you only came across the base level of this and probably didn't use it very much.
Yeah. After a while too, I just am so inundated with things. I oftentimes later in the game needed to even remember to just spend my souls just because I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I get very comfy in the ones that I'm using. And like this one's probably just, I've never gotten it early enough that I've ever bothered.
Yeah. I feel like I'm probably in the same camp with you, but it seems useful if you plan to, make a point to use it and build around it. So
I was going to say, it seems like a decent one actually.
I think it's probably a 6. It's probably something that in a future game, I'll try to make a point to actually use, go find it and use it.
If I came across it early enough, I think I would use it.
All right, next one on the list, Elemental Fury. The Thu'um imbues your arms with the speed of wind, allowing for faster weapon strikes. This is a good one, especially when you're going with some sort of melee focused build. You ever use this?
I feel like I just never think of it, but this sounds like a good melee buff. I just don't.
Yeah, there was an early playthrough where I used this a good bit and kind of chopped things up real fast, and that was fun.
Yeah. No, I could see this one being useful. I just tend to, it's another one of those scenarios. I just forget I never really pre-buff too much.
Right. Yeah.
Like I just don't do it in the single player games too often.
Yep. This was one that one of my patterns is I will come across something and then I'll go, oh, let's see if this is useful. And then I'll use it through like a dungeon. And if I like it, I'll keep using it after the dungeon. If not, I'll kind of try something else out and I'll kind of switch things as I go. And this is one I gave a solid try for probably at least a few dungeons worth of gameplay before switching it out and going with something else. But I think it's another solid one. I think it's 6 or 7, like especially if you're really focused on melee builds and especially if you want your weapon strikes to be faster. Absolutely.
Well, that sounds like pretty solid because hitting things quicker means you're doing more damage. Like that's just how that works. So.
Right. What do you think about Fire Breath? Inhale air, exhale flame, and behold the Thu'um as Inferno. This is the Thu'um version of a fire spell, right?
Nope. I was just nope. But again, I guess if you're trying to do a play where you are not using magicka,
right? Yeah.
Or spells, cool, do this one instead, but this is not, I've never done something like that, so not something I've ever used.
Right. Frost Breath is the same, but for Frost. These are the kinds of things that I feel really start coming into their own once you have all 3 parts, and then they become way more effective. But on a lower level, I've always felt a little bit like, if I have to remember to use it and it only does a little bit of damage, I'm probably better just continue to swing or shoot things with my arrow.
Correct.
So I usually don't go with these. I'd give these 3 or 4, depending on.
Yeah, I mean, they're options, but you got to play for it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Ice Form? The Thu'um freezes an opponent's solid.
I feel like I tried this before and it didn't work.
Really? This is maybe you came across a bug, or maybe you used it on an enemy that was too powerful.
That was more what I think it is. I think when I tried using this, I was using it against some of the ones that are level restrictive. I find that I always seem to pick things that it doesn't apply. Like they're resistant to it. And I'm like, well, I can't be chancing you being resistant. This is not wasting my time. So
Right.
I'm almost positive I thought this was going to be really cool and then was very frustrated that it wasn't freezing them.
Yeah, it basically paralyzes and then also does a little bit of damage for a certain number of ticks.
Right.
But yeah, no, I never really found this one particularly useful. I think I probably tried it a little bit and then just having ever gone back to it.
Yeah, so my only memory of it is the fact that I was frustrated that it didn't freeze the dude, but I'm sure it was just, again, I used it against somebody with just enough resistance to avoid it, which is like, I don't like when that's an option.
Right. Once that starts happening too much, I typically no longer use that because I feel like I'm just under leveled for whatever that was. So I might as well just wear down the damage and eventually just kill it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's a way to, it'd be interesting in a future game if things weren't so powerful that it just doesn't have any effect. It just has a very minor effect, so that you still feel like there's some benefit.
Quick freezy freeze or something,
or it slows them down. Like maybe it's like they're in the middle of a swing and it kind of staggers their swing.
Freezing them, it's at least slowing them.
It's at least slowing. It's like doing kind of a limited version of the thing it was meant to do.
Instead of just like a straight up hard resist.
Right. That would make it at least feel like, okay, at least I'm getting some use out of it. So maybe I'll keep using it for very specific circumstances. But yeah, I'd give it like a 3. I don't know that it's particularly on the top of my list.
Honestly, because of the resist, I'll say like a 3. If it actually if I didn't have the problem of it like not working when I've tried it, I'm not sure I've ever used it against anything that's worked. I haven't used it that much, but I kind of got over it when I failed a couple times at it. I feel like if it worked, I'd actually be pretty on board with this thing.
Yeah. So next one, Kind's Peace. The voice soothes wild beasts who lose their desire to fight or flee. This feels another like one of those other control the animals in the world kind of spell.
I can't level up on things that aren't attacking me, so I won't stand for it.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Like if you are in a situation where like the bear's about to kill you, chill out, bear. Give me a moment to heal. Okay, let's continue the fight.
Sure.
So in that case, but it's very situational. I give it like a 3, a 2.
Yeah,
maybe.
it's not for me.
What do you think about Marked for Death? Speak and let your voice herald doom as an opponent's armor and life force are weakened. This is a debuff.
I was going to say it's like a debuff, which again is the same problem, but just in reverse. Instead of me forgetting to pre-buff myself, I forget to debuff my enemies.
Right.
When I have debuffs or anything like that on, I need it as like an enchantment so that I can't forget, because when I just hit you with the thing, it automatically applies it.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp, but it seems useful if you remember that's there. So I give it like a 5.
Sure. I was going to say if it's yours, it sounds like a decent, like debuffing things is just straight up beneficial, like, so there's not really a negative to it.
Right. All right, so this next one is not one that I use a lot, but when I do use it, I very much enjoy it. Slow time. Shout at time and command it to obey as the world around you stands still. This one's fun because you can like prep a bunch of arrows at an enemy while everything's kind of stuck, and then everything unsticks, and then the arrows hit the enemy. Like, how do you feel about this one?
I don't use this one. However, I think this is a really cool addition to the game. And if I'm not mistaken, this is how you can catch arrows from enemies as well.
Right. Yeah, you can pick them up out of the air. Yeah, you can just grab them.
I was going to say, I did on one of our QuakeCon panels, I forget which year it was, this was one of the questions I got wrong because I did not remember how you would catch arrows. Yeah.
No, this is very cool. Everything being paused looks really cool, and then everything goes back into motion. This is one I've played with a good bit, and it can be very useful, especially if you plan around it.
Yeah, I don't use this a lot myself, but I love that this one exists. So I think this is like a must-have in the game, even though its use to me is minimal. It's super cool, and I almost wish I remembered to use it more. But this one I feel is like a 7 or an 8. Like this is the game would be worse without it.
Right. All right. So next one, Solitaire. This is another DLC one from Dawnguard. Your Thu'um cuts through flesh and shatters soul, commanding the will of the fallen. Now, Durnavir teaches you this one word at a time every time you summon him from the soul cairn, and eventually you get all three.
I was going to say, there's something weird about this one, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Do you have thoughts on this one?
It's not one I ever used. I remember getting it just once. I couldn't remember what the thing was, but it's each time you summon him, and I remembered getting it just to try it out, and I don't really remember ever using it that much after I messed with it initially.
Yeah, the specifics are actually pretty cool. At full strength, it casts Soul Trap upon foes, drains their health for 300 points on impact, and if the target dies within 2 seconds, it resurrects the corpse to fight for you for 1 minute. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so like in a situation, especially when you're dealing with a lot of smaller enemies, to be able to use this in a group and kind of suck out their souls, resurrect them, drop some of the weaker ones, this is actually very useful. I would put this at like an 8.
Yeah, that's actually like a pretty good. Yeah, that one's pretty solid.
Yeah. It's just very particular. It's not like the kind of, shout you can go in early in the game and just make sure you go to each of the dungeons to get.
Sure.
So it is a little bit harder to get, but you go through the questing and in order to unlock it, and it seems very, very useful.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
All right, next one on the list, Storm Call, a shout to the skies, a cry to the clouds that awakens the destructive force of Skyrim's lightning. This is the, make the whole, everything gets cloudy and foggy and lightning comes down kind of spell. It's your equivalent of what Alduin does when he drops meteors at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
They're very similar, except he gets meteors and we get lightning. So,
does it do damage? I literally don't know about this.
You've never used this one? So, so the lightning hits targets randomly and may hit friendly NPCs who may be killed by the strikes, but will not hit you. The more words of the shout used, the longer the storm and the more powerful the lightning bolts. The third word also increases the area of effect. This shout only works outside, but does work in Blackreach, the Soul Cairn, and the outdoor areas of Apocrypha. So yeah, it does damage. Each target within 100 feet is struck by a 40 damage lightning bolt every 3 to 6 seconds at just the base level. And then that goes up to 80 damage every 3 to 6 seconds to everything within 150 feet at the highest level. So
this sounds kind of cool, but the random, I'm curious how random the strikes are.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've tried this out, but I feel like it was directed enough to be useful. It wasn't like you would use it sometimes and just like nobody would get hit. For the most part, it does damage. Like it will hit things. The big question just becomes like, what is it you're fighting and what are you expecting it to do? And there's a certain randomness to it. So
right.
There's, but if you've got a shout you can use and you're outside, why not do this and take out some stuff? So that's my thoughts on it. I think it's pretty solid. I'd give it like a 5 or 6. If you have it, you might as well use it. That kind of thing.
It sounds like one that I want to try because it sounds like it would look really cool.
Yeah. Wasteland Oni says, used for my Lightning Mage build last playthrough. Yeah. It also kind of fits that, like this idea of like a weather wizard kind of thing going on. So I like that. Summon Durnavir. It's another one. Durnavir, hear my voice and come forth from the Soul Cairn. I summon you in my time of need. And that connects to that other shout that you can unlock.
I've used this.
It's fine. Durnavir's fine. Like it's, summon another, guy to fight for you. That's cool.
Yeah.
So if you like commanding dragons and stuff, then it's up there. Also for role playing, I'd put it up higher for that.
I remember using him instead of Odiving.
Yeah, I don't remember if I had one that I liked more than the other. It's been a while since I've done these.
I don't either.
So, but I think it's pretty solid. 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got 3 left. Throw Voice. The Thu'um is heard, but its source unknown, fooling those into seeking it out. This one's very useful, in my opinion, to not only get out of a situation, you're like, oh no, they're going to find me, but also If you really want to sneak up on somebody, stab them in the back. You're not doing the snipe things from a distance with your arrows thing, but you're rather like sneak up on somebody or just avoid conflict altogether. This becomes very useful.
This is a 10 out of 10 if you're doing anything stealthy.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to not get caught, usually for a quest, that's totally useless.
Right. Yeah. Outside of that, it's not particularly useful. But yeah, stealth build, this is a go-to shout. I'll give it a 9.
Yeah, and also some of the commentary is funny just because, what was that noise?
Yeah, right. Must be the wind.
Must be the wind.
Then we're down to the last 2. Unrelenting Force. This is, of course, the most classic of all shouts. Is the first one you get. Your voice is raw power, pushing aside anything or anyone who stands in your path. This one's a 10 out of 10, especially once it's fully upgraded because you just toss people off bridges and stuff. And there's nothing better than physics kicking in and your enemies falling to their deaths.
Easy 10 out of 10. Oftentimes, I will make a playthrough where I never switch off this.
Yeah, it's a go-to. And even at its lower levels, it staggers things, so it still helps in combat.
It's good right out the gate.
Yeah. So very useful all the way across. And then the final one, can you guys, do you want to guess what the final one, what it starts? It's alphabetical, so it comes after you. And it's one that you have to get if you're going through the main quest line. Anything come to mind?
No.
Whirlwind Sprint.
Oh, Whirlwind Sprint.
Yeah, the Thu'um rushes forward, carrying you in its wake with the speed of a tempest. This one is one that I typically only ever use because I have to do it during the quest line with the Greybeards in order to, unlock that part of the quest. But I guess it's useful if you really need to get past things real fast, or if you're speed running the game without using the weird clip thing that throws you through the map. If you've ever seen anybody do that, that's real fast. But this makes sense if you're trying to just get from one place to another or just avoid stuff.
Yeah, this one's fine. I've used this a couple times and actually have glitched myself into things before where I should not have been.
Yeah. You don't want to sprint yourself off a cliff,
No, I don't tend to use this one very much. Fine that it's in there, but I get myself into more trouble than I should benefits with it.
I feel like this is another one of those that the most I used it was in a very, my first playthrough, very early playthrough. And I was like, oh, I can just sprint through the little traps in the dungeon so they don't hit me. And after I did that a few times and got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't take enough. Oftentimes, especially on a stealth build, I don't take enough damage to ever really upgrade my armor. And so I have to kind of make a point to take damage at some point in the game.
Sure.
So I stop using things like this that avoid, especially the minor hits, when I can just kind of tank them and then heal up easily because I just need to accumulate the damage. So
yes,
that's usually how I go. So I'd give that one like a 2, 3, maybe a 3.
I'll give it a 4 because I like that it's in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's cool.
I like it as an option.
Right. So there you go. Those are all the shouts. There are some fun little facts here that we could call out. The Dragon Storm Call is the name of Alduin's that drops the meteors. And of course, we don't have access to that. Alduin also uses the resurrection shout to resurrect dragons as he flies around the map, waking up all the other dragons, which is pretty cool. There's a bunch of other stuff in here that we're not going to go over in this episode, but shouts altogether are pretty well established in the game beyond just, hey, you get this thing and you can use it. Oftentimes the words, and we didn't have enough time on this episode, but the words that make up the shout are actually very interesting. Whirlwind, Fury, and Tempest make up Whirlwind Sprint, and they often make a lot of sense. Slow time is built out of time, sand, and eternity. Like the sands of time dripping through an hourglass. Like they all seem to be very smartly put together for the translation from the Dovahkiin language. Or is that language called Dovahkiin? Am I calling it
Dova?
The Dova language for you're the Dovahkiin. Yeah. So there you go. Dragon shouts, all that kind of stuff. Any final thoughts on this before we go thank our patrons, Lotus?
It's an interesting feature of the series, but it's kind of like... It's weird because it feels like a relic that has to be frozen with Skyrim for the most part. So, I can't see this really ever going outside of Skyrim. It feels
or maybe not going outside of Skyrim as a thing that the player can do, but maybe other creatures or other things in the world would still know the shouts. So like in Elder Scrolls
Sure.
6, if we come across, maybe there still are Draugr in specific locations close by that would still shout at you or something like that. Like,
Sure.
so I can see that carrying forward in the series.
Yeah.
But
I can see that.
but I get your point of like, as an ability for the player, probably never going to come back after Skyrim.
Right. Or it would feel very shoehorned in at that point.
Yeah.
Like it's there just because people are fans of it. And it's like, well, that's a crappy reason to put it in the game if it doesn't work lore-wise.
Right. Yeah, I think they have to be very careful with it. But I think the smart thing to do would be to sprinkle it in places that still make sense. So there you go. If you have thoughts on these, please join in the conversation. Join us on our Discord, and there's links in the show notes and all of that. And we'd love to read your thoughts. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go thank our patrons, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, dear child of cities. That is why the Night Mother loves you.
So as always, we couldn't bring this to you if it wasn't for the support of our patrons. Patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast to join us for ad-free episodes or to get t-shirts. I'm going to drop some new t-shirts soon on the store. You can also join us for our patron chats every month. And we have to welcome our two newest patrons, Apollo Farstrike and Shh. I hope I pronounced that one correctly. It's SHHHSH. Not sure how to do the second shh after the first shh. But thank you for signing up and supporting the show. If I butchered your name, please yell at me on on the
Please
Patreon.
yell at me
page.
elsewhere.
Yeah. Send me a little message on Patreon and be like, hey, you messed up my name. Also, shout outs to our Daedric Princes who get shout outs every single episode. Kira C, Blinding Vision, Hercine, Peter R, and Austin B. Thank you so much for your continued support. And Lotus, we've got a new review that came in that mentions you specifically.
Oh,
These
geez.
are... Oh, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I didn't see this one.
Yeah, these are on Apple iTunes. If you listen to us on iTunes, then please leave a 5-star review. We'll read it out on a future episode.
Yeah,
these are
can read your
beneficial
words.
because they go across the internet and everybody copies iTunes reviews all over the place. But you can also comment on Spotify and leave some positive things in there. We love hearing your positive things. And if you hate our guts, why are you even listening to the show? Just go listen to some other show. You know,
Valid. There's things you could do that would enrich your life, probably.
Yeah, right.
But no, I'm constantly blown away by the amount of you that have taken the time to give us reviews. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, very, very much so. So we've got two. The first one isn't specifically about Lotus. This is from C Gamer Guy. I don't think we read this one on the last one because it's been a few weeks. It says, they write, "Hi, robots." That's the title. 5 stars. "I'm a longtime fan of the games and recently started listening a week or so ago. Same with the Fallout Lorecast, and I love the show. I had no idea about most of the lore of the games, and now I'm so invested. And you probably already went over this, but is the player Lorecon? Thanks, keep up the good work." That's a very interesting question. And it's something that we've discussed a little bit here and there, but that is one of the theories, is that the player character is an avatar of Lorcan who is reincarnating into the world and is actually changing the world in some fundamental way.
Yep.
So I don't think that we have a hard yes or no answer to that.
It's definitely a gray area, but there's definitely supporting evidence that implies that maybe, could be. I like the idea. It's a fun theory. I think there is some supporting evidence, but maybe we'll dig into that more. I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but it's been a while since we've gotten into a LoreCon discussion.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring it back up and kind of go back over that again soon. But thank you so much, Gamer Guy. Then this one comes from Ranger Felurian, who writes, "So good." Here you go, Lotus. "If Lotus had a podcast of just hours of Lotus's opinions on things, I'd be a subscriber for life. Well, you're in luck. It is called Tales of Tamriel."
It sure is. And the episodes are much more controlled at this point due to some time restrictions. But if you go back a few years, we had episodes that delved into 4 hours long of my...
Oh, man.
I wouldn't say incoherent ranting, but
definitely your how did they hours of Lotus's opinions on things. That definitely is a description.
Is hours of my opinions on things.
So Ranger Felurian, go check out Tales of Tamriel. You will get Lotus's hours and hours of opinions and things.
There's
over there.
it's one of the oldest Elder Scrolls podcasts and longest running on the internet.
Yeah. So go check that out.
I don't show up until episode 189, I believe.
But there's been a lot since then too, right?
There's I've been podcasting for 7 years, I think, at this point, which is horrifying. So you got about 7 years of content worth of stuff over at Tales of Tamriel, presented by UESP over there if you're interested in that stuff.
Yeah, so
it's always a fun time.
Go look that up on whatever podcaster you enjoy, and check out Lotus's other stuff, and you'll get lots of long opinions about Elder Scrolls stuff and very meticulous details and all sorts of things. It's a fun show. But also, they left more than just that. Between the sound of his voice and just his general demeanor, I'd listen to him talk about literally anything. But why would you listen to this one, meaning listen to this podcast? It's the best Elder Scrolls podcast out there, hands down. Everything Elder Scrolls lore, insights, laughs, and so much more. So why are you still reading this? P.S. that I get a shout out to. Robots does an excellent job as the co-host. Can't forget you, Tom. I just needed to fangirl over Lotus in this review. Smiley face. Thank you so much.
Because I loathe having to edit my own voice. I heard that I've always been told over the years you get used to it. You don't. At least I don't. And I know my voice is like, for lack of a better word, people have joked that I'm like NPR of Tamriel now because my voice
by the end of the day when we record these, you're
ever
done.
Since I had a kid, apparently my voice is slightly more blown out than it used to be. Some people say they don't notice, which I find funny. Some people do, but I'm glad that it's.
You've become a gentle soul. You're just like talking to a baby all the time.
Yeah,
That's
unless of course you listen to me try to play through the old games. Then there's nothing gentle about it.
Right. You talk like a pirate. The Lotus has two very different modes. There's NPR mode for our show, and then there's every profanity in the world yelling at the game when you're playing those games.
The classics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
All in good fun.
But. It's a wonderful dichotomy. But I'm glad.
I'm my own Sheagora.
I'm glad Ranger Valerian enjoys this. But thank you for taking the time to leave those reviews. Also, before we go, we have to get to the random UESP page. So I'm going to pull that up. But Lotus, tell us what else is going on with Tales of Tamriel and other things you've got going.
Yeah, so we had now that the NDA is up, we actually had an episode come out this week. We really need to not say anything about it, but we were able to see all the stuff for the Elder Scrolls Online that happened in the big reveal that happened on January 7th. So I would check that out if you play Elder Scrolls Online or are interested for the upcoming year. Basically it's our thoughts on it. We tried to make it as listenable just because when that happens each year, a lot of people kind of look at it and decide whether, hey, maybe this is the year I want to try out Elder Scrolls Online because it's like an ongoing game, unlike Skyrim, which is, concluded. It's complete. Not that you can't still get all mods and stuff like that, but it's a supported ongoing game type of thing. Live service is the term that's usually used.
Right. Or they take break and they go, does this new update seem interesting? Do I want to come back and play some more?
Bingo. Yeah. And so we tried to make it much more condensed. Like this show, we actually tried to keep it to an hour.
Hey,
which we actually,
you're inspirational for your own other show.
Yeah, I know. But it was like, let's not inundate people with 3 hours of our opinions on this episode, so that people can, and then if they're interested, they can tag along for all the others. But exciting new stuff. So we do have our opinions and initial thoughts going into that. Some very player-friendly things coming in the next year. So we're pretty excited for that. I'm obviously a bit more interested in what we're seeing storyline-wise and world-wise getting added to it. But it's a lot of system stuff, which is exciting too, because if the gameplay doesn't necessarily click with you, we kind of go into some of the things there looking to improve. So that's really it. And other than that, just kind of been low key with the holidays and everything. So glad to be back recording again.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and because a lot of the updates for ESO are very system based, they're not really the focus of this show. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to get lore updates and things. Like some of the things on that schedule seem very lore focused. Like this interesting little detail about something coming this summer that has to do with ships or the ocean. Did you notice that?
Yes.
I don't remember the official title.
Yeah, it's something that I'm actually very interested in because naval combat could be very intriguing.
I don't know if they're adding a new mechanic or if it's like a new thing across multiple zones that coincides with shorelines, or one of the rumors is that something very boat focused might coincide with a potential Elder Scrolls 6, which might be about Hammerfell and High Rock and the ocean between them. So, and shipbuilding is one of those things people have speculated about for Elder Scrolls 6. So maybe this is coinciding with an Elder Scrolls 6 announcement in the summer. So we'll be tackling a lot of that stuff as some of those things become more clear and interesting. And as usual, Elder Scrolls Online is a big part of the show as well. They drop all sorts of interesting lore that we cover all the time. So excited about some new stuff this year that we might be covering at some point. So that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But as for me, check out my other shows, Fallout Lorecast, where I'm going through every single episode of the Fallout TV show every week as it comes out. I just dropped another episode as we're recording this, about the 4th episode, and some of the deep lore cuts and little details, but also some of my speculation about where the show is going and all of that. And if you've been enjoying the Fallout TV show, come listen to the Fallout Lorecast. I'll break everything down for you in all sorts of fun ways. And on top of that, there's been a lot of discussion on the Discord from a lot of the people in the community with their takes on what's going on. And it's been a lot of fun to be part of that. There's a very specific channel just for spoilers. So if you're avoiding spoilers, you can be part of the Discord and just never click on that channel and you won't get anything spoiled. So come join us for that. And as of course with the other shows, I've got all sorts of other shows. Lord of the Rings Lorecast, Retro Recall, where we actually just talked about Duke Nukem 3D in the most recent episode that dropped yesterday. So if you want to go back and reminisce about these old retro games and what it's like to play them for the first time in 30 years and all of that, go check out Retro Recall, available on every podcasting service. So wherever you're listening to this, look that up. And robotsradio.net for other links for things if you want to go check that out. But Lotus, I've got our random page up. You ready for this?
How random is it?
This one is from one of your favorite Elder Scrolls games. You want to take a guess which one it might be?
Morrowind?
Not Morrowind. Legends.
Battlespire, I'm going to be sad.
Legends, the card game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a serious one.
Yeah, no, this isn't a joke. This is like you really enjoyed the card game.
No, it's fantastic. Well,
yeah.
I'm not even a card game fan. I liked it.
Yeah. So this is the Legends Basics Cards page on the UESP. And
beautiful artwork.
It's a list of all the just basic cards. And yeah, the artwork in this, if you guys haven't played Legends, and I know it's a retired game at this point, but there's a lot of really cool artwork if you're just a fan.
It is also
of that.
Meticulous effort was put through on the USP to document and record all of that stuff. So it is not fully lost. Yes, you can't play it, unfortunately. But if you're interested in the story to it, which was shockingly good, or all the beautiful artwork, I strongly recommend checking out the USP and this page specifically, because I actually just looked it up while you brought it up as the random one. So I just went to it. And please, oh my God, the artwork is so good. If you see any of my channel artwork for YouTube or Twitch, it is actually the same artist who I owe.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yep. He actually did a lot of my channel artwork and is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And this page lists out just a few of the cards that are considered basic cards. The Ural Mountains. Is that pronounced correctly? Yeah. Ural Forager.
Ural Mountains.
Ural, words, you know me. Morthal Watchman, the Scuttler, the Skin Guard Patroller, and the White Run Trooper. Some just basic cards in the deck. And of course, the artwork is wonderful. So go check that out on the UESP. But that's going to do it for me and Lotus this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Chat, thank you for being here. I love all the comments and conversation while we're doing the show. And we'll be back next week talking about the greater skills, the greater powers and skills. All the like racial stuff and some of the other stuff that you can get in Skyrim. And it turns out there's a lot more than you probably think, because usually you only see parts of those at a time. And typically people don't build their builds around that stuff. So we'll get into that next week. And until then, have a wonderful week and we'll see you next time. Be safe out there.
See you later.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Check out robotsradio.net for more podcasts just like this, and join us on the Robots Radio Discord. Be part of a community of over 5,000 people who are excited about video games and so much more. Robots Radio. Games, lore, stories, community. Just press play.
tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope, she bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.